Roses, I'm sick.
Yeah, I know. Why are we recording when you're sick?
Because what am I gonna do?
Rest?
I already rested. I rested yesterday. I rested today, and now I'm friggin' bored.
Why don't you play a game and rest, or eat
I
some
did.
pasta?
Now I want to talk about them. Now look, we've broken our brains, and now half of playing a game is talking about them. For other people,
Okay.
they just play a game and they enjoy it, and they're like, "Oh, yay, that was fun."
Oh,
Move
yay.
along. But for us, it's like my game.
This is a mission.
It's not complete until I have then written several pages or talked for an hour about this game.
You could have just texted. We could have just texted, so you could rest and take some medicine. And
you can't turn a text into a podcast. Well, one day.
Wow.
One day they will.
One day we can.
I think it's suspicious. You could call me a conspiracy theorist, whatever.
Oh boy.
I think it's suspicious.
I don't know if I like whatever is going to come out of your mouth.
They swear RFK in as the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and 1 week later, I get a cold. Something just doesn't add up here, right?
Okay,
something doesn't add up.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Save Your Game. I am Pushing Up Roses, and I'm here alone today. Matt is sick and had some very delusional thinking, so I have kicked him off, and it's just me.
It's gonna be weird.
Matt!
Hey.
What did I say?
I got in here. It's gonna be weird to see what kind of energy comes out of me, right? Because it's almost like we're shaking up the crystal ball, and we're gonna see what comes up. It's either gonna be a manic, friggin' sweaty, fevered weirdo, or it's just gonna be a tired boy who has to keep muting the mic to blow his nose.
All right. Sexy times. Great. Wonderful. Do you remember when I was sick? Well, I think it was when we were on with Escape This Podcast. We had Bill and Danny on. And I was really sick. And you edited that episode. And there was just this full 30 minutes where I said nothing. And I'm yeah, I was slumped over, disassociating into another dimension, just super ill.
Well, thankfully those two were talkers. How well do you think that you'll do if that happens here and it's just you?
Oh, I'll do well. I'm pretty much a pro. Listen, Matt, if you've learned anything about me, it's that I can talk about anything or nothing for a really long time by myself. It's great. And yeah, I'm used to streaming alone and living alone and doing my YouTube alone. So yeah, I got this.
I blame RFK for that.
And you're cold.
What do you love RFK or something? What is this?
Oh my God.
What are you standing up for?
I just don't think that there's a conspiracy against you to have given you a cold.
Robert Floppy Kennedy Jr.
Floppy.
I think that's what it stands for. Let me Google.
I think the F stands for floppy.
I'm Googling. Yeah, it's floppy.
No, it's not.
It says here Robert Floppy Kennedy.
No, that can't be. Okay, wait, I have to look it up.
Right here on middlenames.com.
You are such a liar, and I hate you. Can we go back to the podcast, please?
What does Robert F. Kennedy's middle name stand for? I didn't actually Google it before.
I know you didn't, because I did. It's
floppy. Yeah, it's floppy is what I just found out. How have you been, Roses? What have you been up to this week?
Pottery. I did some pottery. I'm getting pretty good at it. I made a teeny tiny bowl. Listen, for ants. Well, when you put, I didn't quite realize. Well, okay, they did warn me when I started pottery that when you put your, clay in the kiln, it will shrink about like 12%, and that doesn't sound a lot to me. So I'm like, it's fine. This size is fine.
Yeah.
Look, it's more than you think. Okay, it is way more than you think. I got my bowl back, and it's teeny tiny, and so is my salsa dish.
Well,
So
that's probably fine because there's, I don't know if you knew this, but RFK made it so that it's illegal to have any bowls bigger than your own fist.
well, it is bigger than my own fist. It's not.
Oh
like,
no! I gotta report you.
Fine, report me.
I
Fine,
gotta
do
report
it.
you to the Food and Drug Administration because now they actually now they have jurisdiction over what we put our foods into. So, like for example, you're not allowed to eat a taco with a knife and fork anymore. It's illegal. That's like the one good thing that they did.
Have you been doing that?
No, I'm saying that's the one good thing they did.
Wait, I need you to take it back.
Mm-hmm.
Who eats tacos with a knife and fork? Does somebody
Nobody
do that?
anymore. Nobody anymore. You go to jail. You go right to jail, and you deserve it.
Fine, report me in my guacabowli. It's a bowl for guacabowli.
Okay, I'm gonna have to report that pun to RFK
Damn
and
it!
see what he
Can't win.
He also has to. He's also has jurisdiction about food-related jokes now.
But it's funny.
Did you play any games?
Played a shit ton of games, actually.
Whoa.
Is that illegal too?
No. The Department
thank
of
God.
Games has not paid. Oh my god. My god. There is so with Elon Musk, there's like not big chance, right? But like a 2% chance that there will be a Department of Games at some point.
What
right?
do they do? And can I be on it?
Well, he's about to release his own AI-based video
God.
game
No.
developer.
No!
Company. I know. And so when it tanks, he's going to be like, we need to regulate games. And then he'll make every other game besides his own illegal.
Oh my, if that happens, I have to do videos on it. I have to. I don't want to platform it, but I gotta destroy it.
Look, it's such a small chance, but nobody on Earth can tell me it's a 0% chance, right? Like nobody can tell me that it is
never
a 0% chance that he will try to make every game illegal.
He'll go back and discover Night Trap and be like, they had a point.
Did you hear about that time that he hired somebody to level up his character in some fucking trendy video game so that he could then play it on stream and pretend I've put all these hours into it, and people people immediately clocked that he didn't even know how the menus worked. God. There's no possible way.
Well, thank you, Elon, for making me look good, because I've suffered the whole fake gamer girl thing for many years, but it can't get worse than that.
Yeah, Elon Musk is the ultimate fake gamer girl.
Yeah, can't even open a fucking menu. Come on, my dude. Come on.
Did you play? So this episode, we're going to be talking about Next Fest demos.
Yes.
We talked about a few of them in our last episode. If you guys... I think we'll probably at least repeat the titles if you didn't hear our last episode. But also, if you didn't hear our last episode...
What are you doing, even?
What are you doing? That last episode was, probably top 5, at least.
Top 5. Yeah, top 5. Yep.
Top 5. Yep. If you are listening to this episode and you haven't listened to the last episode, I'm calling RFK on you.
Stop reporting everything. Guacamole. Okay, go on.
But did you play anything so we're going to be talking about Next Fest demos. Did you play anything that wasn't a demo?
Did I play something that wasn't a demo? No, and that's actually kind of disappointing to me because I really wanted to. I got a little bit deflated because I kind of often forget that not all demos are, particularly long and involved. And that's fine. They can be whatever the creator wants them to be, right? In fact, I talked to a friend today and I said, I played the Kathy Rain 2 demo and it's beautiful. And they said they didn't want to play the demo. They just wanted to play it cold. And now I understand because now I'm left with this feeling of wanting, not from every demo, not from all of them, because I did play about 7 of them. So, but some of them I'm like, oh, why'd I do that? Like these are not early access games where there's like 20 hours available to the player. There's like an hour. And I'm like, no.
Right. I mean, that's how I feel about any point and click podcast. What am I talking about? It's this friggin' cold. I can just blame that. Everything that I say wrong, I can blame it on the cold. But on any point and click game, I don't like to play the demos. I'd rather just wait to play the whole thing, because sometimes they're like point and click games are really short. Other times, like, it takes a while to like really get yourself into the world. And I'll forget what items I have.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I even feel not great about doing early access for Fields of Mystria, because I think I've forgotten stuff, and now it's so daunting to play all like 20 hours again.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what to do. What do I do?
I mean, I think I'm going to. I think that's why I waited. That's why I'm waiting till the next Mystria update. Which
I was
coming,
too. I didn't play the last one,
which should be out by the time this episode releases. It is March 10th. That's the major update. Speaking of games that got updates, and then I'll tell you what I've been playing.
Oh, I bet I can guess.
Rise of the Golden Idol got its new DLC.
Yay!
The Sins of New Wells. I haven't gotten a chance to boot it up yet because I've been sick, but I will.
Why is it when men get sick, they turn into utter babies?
It's so hard to be sick.
Yeah, all right.
I have a feeling, honestly, I have a feeling it's because of periods, right? Because a lot of women get various side effects once a month, and sometimes those come with like major stomach cramps, and sometimes those come with like fatigue, or like they can come with all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
People who don't menstruate only get sick when they get sick, so it's way less often, and we're real babies about it. We have no coping strategies, so we just kind of flop around and wait for a competent woman to take care of us.
Is your middle name Floppy?
No.
Matt Floppy. Okay. I'm gonna call you Floppy from now on. I like it. It's cute.
You can't call me the same thing that RFK is. It's his legal middle name. If my name was if I had any of those, Robert, Kennedy, Floppy, I would have changed them by now, because that man is such an embarrassment.
But yeah, my last period killed me. It's a miracle that I'm alive. Be grateful.
Well, I might only be alive till the end of this podcast. We'll have to check in on me.
Okay, I'll check on you. I'll check on you later.
You want to know what I played this week before I played, or along with demos, I guess?
Yeah, what'd you play?
So I finished Heaven's Vault.
Oh, you finished it. Great.
Yeah, and it was... There was a point... I think there is a point of no return that maybe should be a little more obvious. I feel like some people probably see it coming when they get to it. I for whatever reason, didn't. But there's a point of no return where you go to the Heaven's Vault. This isn't a spoiler. It's the first scene in the game, and then you flash back. So that is a point of no return in the game, and I wasn't done all my stuff. I wasn't done everything. But also,
wasn't done all my stuff.
There was other archaeology sites I hadn't visited. There were a lot of runes that I hadn't translated. I I felt like I hadn't gotten all the way through my storylines with various characters.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly I was on this one-way track to the end of the game. And that was
Oh.
frustrating. It would have been more frustrating, except for I had also kind of lost steam
Okay.
because there was another unreversible thing that happened. There is one place that you can visit in the game where the robot companion that follows you around 6 that you build a relationship with, and like you as a player and as a character you grow to like and grow to feel
Don't you,
some
whatever you're about to
connection
say, it better not break my heart. I'm warning you right now.
you replace it with another personality.
Wow.
And you are sort of warned about this. It doesn't say, like, somebody's like, it might be dangerous. But there's other times in the game where somebody says something might be dangerous and you do it anyway and you're fine. Like, it's not a game where you die.
Okay.
So they were like, it might be dangerous. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then it replaced it with something really interesting. The personality that it replaced with was very, very interesting and important to the lore of the game.
Okay.
So then when immediately she was like, well, I can change him back. And I was like, well, let's see what it has to say first. And then she was like, well, if we don't, I don't know. They might have said if we don't change it back, they might be stuck that way. But again, like, this game had bluffed me before.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, and the dialogue options weren't like, no, I'll take that risk, or no, I want to keep it this way, right? The dialogue options were these sort of like, let's give it one more second, or let me just ask one more question, right? And so I believed that I would be able to. And then she just walks away. The robot just walks away from the area and refuses to go back. And
no.
Now you're stuck with this other robot. It's the same body, but a completely different robot in it. And the first robot's just gone.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. Supposedly you can do this pretty early. You can do this like an hour or 2 hours into the game if you know if you get unlucky or lucky enough, or if you know where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was like 15 hours into the game, and I was like, I don't want to fucking start over. And there's no save slots. It's an Inkle game, so they're very like adamant about when you make your choices, you make your choice. I think I got into a little argument with the guy from Inkle on Blue Sky not that long ago about this. It's like, people do want to see your whole game, and he's like, people are obsessed with seeing the whole game. They should, it's an art form just to see what, like, to stick with your choices. And I was like, yeah, I understand, but also there's a lot of writing and artistry that you put into this piece of work that, of course, players are going to want to see.
Yeah, I agree. We kind of talk. Was my whole stance with Cabernet. Is like, if you're gonna have a game that's slightly redundant, where it's not breaking off like very significantly to see the other things, then I think you really need to have save slots. Like, I get what they're doing. I get that it's an art form. I think it would be better for the player to have that choice, though. I think maybe a great thing would be to make that choice before you even play the game. So you can choose to play and live with your choices, and players will do that. Like, maybe they're afraid that players won't do that. I think they will do that, especially like bigger Let's Players. I think they're gonna do that. Or you can give players the option to have a few save slots, around. Because I do want to see everything that the game has to offer.
Well, so I found my conversation. It was with John Ingold. And what his original post was, what's the point of a medium where your choices matter if you simultaneously want to not miss anything? Those are literally contradictory points.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I don't think players are wrong. I think this is just a design challenge.
Yeah.
Like, allowing players to revisit story junctures is like a way around this. And we talk about how Overboard does that, but then he mentions Heaven's Vault doesn't. and 90% of players roll with it, but others do complain quite a lot. And I guess I'm being one of those people who complain because I wanted to see all of Heaven's Fault. It was a cool world.
I don't think it's even a complaint. I think it's a criticism. And when you're making art, he's saying it is an artistic choice, then you open yourself up to artistic criticism. I would like to see all of your game, and my argument is that if it's too daunting to restart, then I'm not going to replay it to see and make new choices and live with those. I'm just not. It's too redundant.
Yeah.
I would have to wait, a little while. And, I think there is merit to games having some replayability, because we buy this piece of art. We do want to revisit it. It's like rewatching a movie, it's revisiting something. So I don't know. I think I was trying to think about like a good way of going about this when we talked about Cabernet. And I think, another good option is if you want to do this type of gameplay where there's no saves, you just live with your choices. Perhaps, I think Fran Bow does this. It saves the chapters for you. So while you do have to backtrack a little bit, you don't have to replay the entire game. And then you can make that choice. You can be like, well, I'm going to live with my choice and not replay that chapter. Or you can decide to, I want to see what else this chapter has to offer. Does that make sense?
Yes. But John Ingold's point, right, is that this is that it's what he said was it's watering down the soup. He says that it is a form of metagaming, and he uses the words it acts as an emotional crutch.
I don't agree.
Well, that's what I said. I said I can't see it that way. I think they're appreciating it on a different level than you think. I assume audiences are smart when I see the way, people are ingesting art. And what he says is people want to appreciate craft, then fine, but the median isn't there. For the flowchart, they want the feels. They just really don't want to fuck it up by accident. And that's the root concern. Basically, I don't see FOMO as a very interesting way to approach or target art. And it's like, but you're creating the FOMO, right? You're creating the FOMO by giving them an interesting path that they now can't reach. And I don't know. I can see the merit in living with your choices, and feeling the emotional impact that has, but I don't see the merit in what am I trying to say? Being negative about the fact that people still want to see that stuff.
I think you can stick with your stance and not imply that the players don't understand art. I don't know if that is what he is implying, but you have to be careful about that. You can't just assume everyone approaches and looks at art the same way. I also think it's really interesting that he said, what's the point of having a game where you make choices when you can just like go back? Well, then what's the point of putting choices in your game? Do you not want people to see? Why are they there then?
I mean, I believe the idea is that then you have to first live with your, like there's an emotional impact to living with what you choose. And there's
a solution to that.
And there's a social impact to different people getting different experiences when they play the game.
So make it, I don't know. I feel like you could make it a more linear experience and get the exact same effect if you don't care if your players get to go back and see those other choices. I just don't understand why they would be there.
Again, I think it's supposed to, just like life, right? You could go right or left. And
but in life, you don't always have to live with your decisions. You can sometimes backtrack and make things better and choose a different course.
Sometimes, but sometimes you can't.
But sometimes you can. And he's saying in this game, you never can. And
I don't think he's saying that specifically. I don't think what he's saying is that, because there are plenty of things in Heaven's Gate that I did out of the order that it wanted me to, or I did and then went back and did something and like changed my mind and went back and did something else, right? So I don't think he's saying anything that extreme.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I think he is far towards the side of not, not allowing people to revisit. Like, if there are some big decisions that will change your game, that'll change a story, just like there's some big decisions that will change life, irreparably.
Mm-hmm.
But in life, somebody didn't write another 4 hours of art that I'm missing out on.
Yeah.
Right? Like, somebody didn't write that other part. It just doesn't exist. So, like, of course I can't go back and see it again. The life where I didn't have a baby doesn't exist, right? The life where I, became a priest doesn't exist. Those don't exist. But if they did, and some people were like, oh, it's so cool, the Matt I knew became a priest, I'd want to see what the deal was with that Matt.
Yeah. I think you make a good point where you put it out there by choosing this format of storytelling. So you're going to have to expect people to be curious about those other choices because you put them there.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if I'm getting a little like steamed up about it. I get very passionate when people bring up, well, this makes it more art. This is the art of it. And to be honest with you, and I understand that. I really do, because I'm your artist. I'm very passionate about it. But also, I guess I don't want to ever I guess when I put art into the world, I hope people see it for what I want it to be seen as, but also I kind of lose ownership of it. And people can kind of decipher it how they want to decipher it, because that's the point of art, is to be human and to experience it how you experience it on a unique level. I'm getting way too pretentious. We need to stop.
So I think, just to go back to Heaven's Vault, my bigger issue isn't that my big issue was that the game stopped being fun when this big change happened.
Aww.
For me, because there was a character that I really enjoyed and liked, and now I'm having to spend, at that point I didn't know how long, it only ended up being an hour. It probably should have been longer if I hadn't gone down that path and ended up ending my game kind of early. But it made me less. If suddenly in Sam and Max turned into like Conroy Bumpus, right? And was following you around and talking like Conroy Bumpus and being annoying and complaining and hating you like Conroy Bumpus did, you'd be like, I don't like this game anymore.
It reminded me of Beneath the Steel Sky. You do get a robot companion in that game, and I would probably be upset if it changed personalities halfway through, Right.
He does change bodies, but not personalities in that game. Okay. Anyway, Heaven's Vault was very good. I was just a little disappointed with the ending, and it's a little too long to just replay the whole thing. But one day I will, and I will avoid those two choices. And the one thing it does is it does save all the translated runes that you have when you play again. So
okay, that's nice.
But it does starts you all the way over at the beginning. So and it is a very long text heavy game where the character walks slow. So it doesn't exactly invite the replays the way that maybe they were hoping it would. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my biggest criticism for long games where there is no chance to save.
And the character walks very slow. Like, I just want to keep that. The character walks very slow.
Is there no like run cycle or
quick? Nope. No. Okay. No run cycle, and there's a lot of ancillary conversations. So there's a lot of you're walking from one place to another, and there's either a question or reply or comment button that comes up. Yeah. And so you can click one of those, and now you're in a discussion with your robot. And again, that's how close you get to this robot. At any point, an option can just pop up to talk to him.
Aww.
So it runs into that problem where, you're walking from one place to another and you start a conversation, and now you're interested in where the conversation goes. So you just start like walking in circles or something because you don't want to get to the spot and the conversation end. Anyway, But it is. I do want to say, Heaven's Vault is a very good game. I'm also really looking forward to Expelled, their upcoming game.
Nice, very good.
So anyway, do you? I don't have it up, but let's say Sicky Matterino.
Oh, Sicky Matterino.
You want to play Sicky Matterino? Floppy Kennedino.
Oh my god.
And we'll talk about some Next Fest demos.
Let's do it. Hey everyone, welcome back to Save Your Game. I'm your host, Pushing Up Roses. With me is my somewhat not healthy co-host, Matt
Terminally
Ocamp.
ill. Well, terminally
on
ill.
his deathbed, Matt Ocamp.
Yeah. Hi.
How you doing, Matt?
Hi, everybody. I'm sick.
He's sick, guys.
I'm sick.
Send soup.
I think I have everything.
Okay. All right.
Every illness.
Okay. Syphilis?
Sure.
Dysentery?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. You answered that really quickly. Definitely dysentery, you guys.
Definitely dysentery. I have syphilis of the elbow.
Shit. Sounds awful.
Yeah. How about you?
What do I have?
Yeah, you got any syphilis over there?
No, I don't. I don't have any syphilis at the moment.
Oh, okay.
In fact,
Just
I'm
checking.
strangely healthy right now, which is not the norm for me at all.
It's RFK.
It's RFK. Yeah.
Okay,
it's a conspiracy.
So the reason we are gathered here today is to talk about Next Fest. Now, when we did our first episode, I don't think I knew that there was like 3 or 4 of these a year. I thought they were
either.
once a year.
Yeah.
But I feel like
it makes
maybe
sense though.
Yeah.
Because who's gonna wait a year? There's just too many games coming out for it to just be a yearly thing. I'm like, oh yeah, it makes sense that there's like 3 or 4 like quarterly Next Fests. Yeah.
I think, and I will sometimes talk about demos, right? Because it's a big part of playing games. But I think probably we'll talk about it once a year. Yeah. I don't think we'll do like a ton of Next Fest, like 3 Next Fest episodes a year. That's just a little much.
I like playing the demos, even though they make me sad.
Yeah, because they end too soon.
Yeah, I like being sad.
I want to hear about what you play, but first let's real quick recap what we talked about last time.
Okay.
I played a climbing game called Alpinist that was really cute and had little hand-drawn art. I played... What else did I talk about? I played Deck of Haunts, a game where you're a haunted house with cards, and you use those cards to drive the people that come into your house crazy or kill them. Mm-hmm. And we both played Do No Harm, which I know you had more to talk about.
I do. I am so middling about what I have played, and we'll get into it soon.
Okay. What is there any other games that you talked about last time that you wanted to bring up?
I think just Duck Detective, and I might mention it again. I tried not to talk about. If you recall, I tried actually not to talk about it last time because I felt like the demo was short, and I also feel like the games are going to be short. Like I think that's smart in a way because clearly they want this to be a recurring character, kind of like an anthology type of a series. With its own little cases. So it does make sense that the games are shorter, but I would be giving away a lot if I really talked about the demo,
Yeah. Well,
so I'll try to say some like objective things about it if I can.
Okay, well, why don't you start with that?
Okay, yeah, we can do that. So yes, there is going to be a new Duck Detective. It's called What the fuck? Why the glamping situation?
The
Why don't
ghost of glamping.
the ghost of glamping? Yeah. To be fair, I don't remember the first one either. The salami. These names are silly and they're killing me here.
I gotta remember it's glamping and salami. You don't have to remember the whole thing.
Yeah, just just type in Duck Detective glamping and you'll find it. And it's basically identical to the first one in style, as you can probably imagine. It picks up slightly from where you left off from the first game, which you're kind of going on like an adventure with Freddie Fredersen, who is your crocodile friend. He turns out to be your roommate now. You were living with Freddie, and he like wants to surprise you by, I think you can guess, what does he want to do with Duck Detective? What do you think, Matt?
I think he wants to go head up the Department of Health and Human Services in the United States.
Wow, so close, but not quite. He wants to go
glamping. Yeah, okay.
In a spooky, at this like spooky campsite, he wants to go glamping, and we get there, and something has gone wrong. Of course, something has been burglarized, and and we're a detective, so clearly we're gonna do all the things. I like the very first challenge, which is find out who Freddie's girlfriend is. And this is just something I think is so funny in these type of games where, and probably like Rise of the Golden Idol too, you can't just ask for people's names. You can't just be like, hey, I'm Roses. Who are you? What's your name? I'm Rose. You can't do that in these games. You have to like it's so weird that you can't just ask a name. You have to figure it out. And I don't know why.
In the Golden Idol games, you're like a you're a like a supernatural force.
That's true.
Right? But in Duck Detective, you are a guy walking around. You should be able to just say, and your name?
No, you can't. Yeah, you can't. And I think that was something I brought up last time. Is like you cannot ask anyone their name. You just have to figure it out with context clues. And it is, of course, beautifully voiced. It's very funny already. Yeah. Actually, it might have been one of the longer demos I played, despite it being, I think, going to be a shorter game like its first one. I'm just so stoked with it, though. I'm really. You guys know that there's a lot of animal detective games out there. It is hard to even keep them in line. I think this one is really special. It looks adorable. I really love these characters. I love that Freddy's back. It gives it some sense of familiarity. And honestly, they're good. They're good, solid like mysteries. But I will say this, and this is something that we both felt from the last game. I even early in the game, I still felt like I was guessing, man. Like in Rise and Case, you really have to be sure of what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you can get there. I don't know if it's like just a slightly like a syntax problem or not syntax, like a semantics problem. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but there was a few times where I'm like, am I guessing? Why am I guessing? I feel like I should have everything,
I felt the same way. I felt the same way, at least in the first one, right?
Yeah, I know.
It in a way, and again in a way that I almost never did in Golden Idol or in the original. What's the original of this genre?
Case?
Return of the Obra Dinn.
Oh my god, why do we have to talk about that game? It makes my head hurt.
What? Why do we have to talk about Golden Idol every episode?
Why we gotta talk about King's Quest V? I don't know. That's just who I am.
So, I think there are sometimes in those games that I do guess, but I don't need to. And in Duck Detective, you do need to guess.
I wonder if I'm just not focused enough because unlike Rise, you are heavily talking and interrogating characters because you are in real time. Rise and Case is not. It's kind of a retroactive situation. So I'm just wondering if I'm getting things like muddled and confused because I'm trying to do a lot of different things. I'm trying to collect clues. There's visual clues. There's interrogation clues. I don't know. I don't really know
That
what
is
it
a
is.
good point, right?
Yeah, like, is it information overload?
That is a good point. Yeah. We might just be missing half or like one sentence in a a 2-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I really I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. This is definitely
Um,
more in line with like the Dagger of Amon-Ra, where you are in real time getting conversations and clues, and then you're doing a quiz. Whereas I think in the idle games, like I said, you're doing things retroactively and you're more relying on finding information. You're not, I don't think you interrogate really anybody. You can get dialogue, but it's not a conversation.
mhm.
And like you can't show people things if I'm remembering correctly.
Right.
But yeah, that being said, it's lovely. It's cute. I'm excited. I was sad at the end of the demo. I wanted to play more.
Cool.
Yeah. So we both played Do No Harm. Should we go on to talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I was the first to play Do No Harm, and it's by Darts Games. It actually is. I think it releases tomorrow, right?
Does it? Oh.
Tomorrow, as we're recording this, so it'll be out by the time
Okay.
you people are hearing this.
All right.
But it's very much like a strange horticulture, like where instead of instead of giving people flowers to cure their ills, you're giving them shots of medicine.
Yeah, you're a
Um,
doctor.
you're a doctor.
Mhm.
You're a doctor who's slowly going insane, and you have to manage things like your and this to your chagrin. You have to manage things like your medicine level, and like all the different the happiness of your patients, but also all the different medicines and sort of like pre-medicines you
Yeah.
have in
Yeah.
your stock, and then the money you make from your patients. But also because you're going insane, you have to manage like the laudanum that you have to drink to make your
Yeah.
hallucinations go away. I really enjoyed it. It gets more complex each night. They like
Yeah.
add little bits of complexity, which I like and wish. I kind of wish Strange Horticulture would have done a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, but there's something that I forgot to complain about last time, and there's something that you really want to complain about this time.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
I think this game, I had a lot of fun with this game.
Hmm.
I liked it so much that even though I screwed up the first time around,
Hmm.
because as Matt said, you do have to manage your supplies. And at the end of the day, you get the option to buy more, and it's not clear. It is not clear how you
Yes,
buy more medicine and more
that's
supplies.
that's the biggest problem with the game. The
Yeah.
menus suck.
Yeah, it's definitely there's a little bit of a UI problem. It's not always clear. That being said, I think this game has a lot of potential to
Hmm.
be so great and more polished as much as it is fun. I think it gets way too confusing. I don't think the handbook makes a lot of sense. I think it was done better in Strange Horticulture, where
Hmm.
even though there was some challenge to it, it did make sense. Just as a quick example, in your medical book, people have like allergies and reactions to certain things, and you have to be aware of that.
Hmm.
But there was a couple instances where I needed to give somebody a black bile shot, but it said, do not give a black bile shot to women. Avoid that. But
Correct.
I had to. It was the only correct thing. There was no consequences for it. I couldn't tell if it's like, well, do I not give her the shot if she has these allergies? Do I not give her the shot if
Right.
she is? It's the handbook is not polished, in my opinion. I think it gets way too confusing. I think the mechanics that they start building make it more confusing. It does not get less confusing.
And I think you can read the page about people's allergies
Yeah,
before it introduces the allergies mechanic, and I think until it introduces the allergies mechanic, the allergies don't matter. But then why
right.
include the page in the
Right.
in the book? Like there's other times in the game where they add pages,
Yeah.
as they add complexity, I don't know why they didn't do that with the allergies. Because you're right, I did the same thing. Immediately, the first time I saw a woman and she needed black bile, I was like, oh, I can't give this to her.
Yeah.
And then I was like, they're not giving me anything else. So I did, and it was fine. I'm not sure that would still be true on night 6 after they've introduced allergies, but I don't know. Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
understand. And
There's
like
just
you
some
said,
mechanics that are just they're too confusing to me, or they just don't work. And I wanted to see if I was kind of alone in my
Mhm.
criticism. And there are comments on this demo that say some of this stuff is kind of confusing, or
Yeah,
it just doesn't correlate with what you're trying to do.
and they don't highlight some things, like they don't highlight the uh how to re-up your medicine.
Right.
Also, there was an option that I can never use to buy lamp oil, and that never came into play in
I did
when
a
I was playing.
whole like night in the dark. I bought lamp oil. I bought it. I actually
Oh,
had it,
okay.
and I could not figure out how to turn on my lamp. So I had
Interesting.
customers coming up with me. I couldn't see them. Uh, just diagnosing
Yeah.
people in the shadows.
Also, I also need, when I play it for real, I need to learn to trust the game more, because at one point a customer came up and they weren't there, and there was nothing there, and they were talking,
Oh,
and I was told to look for anomalies, but I
yes.
thought this was just a bug. So I
Okay.
didn't use my laudanum, and then they were like, that you missed an anomaly. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I should have put more trust that the game wasn't broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because all this stuff that we're talking about, except for maybe your lamp oil situation, it's not bugs.
It's not bugs. I just think
It
it's
is,
confusing.
yeah, it is design choices that
Yeah.
are confusing. So
Yeah. But it
anyway,
has
yeah.
a lot of potential. This is the kind of game that I would be looking for to play. So I hope that it gets a little bit more polish.
hmm
And yeah, I do look forward to seeing where it goes for sure.
So I want to talk about a game that we haven't talked about yet.
Okay.
And that game is uh, Promise Mascot Agency. Did you get a
Yeah,
chance to
yeah.
spend any time with this?
I didn't, but I did when
Okay.
you suggested it to me, I did look it up
Mhm.
and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It is very strange. It yeah,
Does look strange, yeah.
it is by Kaizen Gamework Game. Let me try this again. Kaizen Gameworks Limited. They're the company that did Paradise Killer a few
Mhm.
years back. This is very much not like Paradise Killer. There's
Huh,
no
okay.
mystery here. You play an ex-Yakuza who lives in a world where mascots are like a race of people, a race of being. Um, and you come to this small, sort of down on its luck town to open a mascot agency. With your friend Pinky, who is a mascot that is a severed pinky toe. Um, and you basically drive around. Now, there's a lot of driving, but it's not really like a driving game. The driving is just kind of how you move around.
Yeah.
Like your car jumps, your car gets an air dash, I think, at one point. Your car, like your car, gets like a launcher to destroy obstacles. So like Paradise Killer, there's like this very light Metroidvania aspect to it, where some things are blocked off until you get other abilities.
Mhm.
Um, that might feel a little out of place in a game that's basically about business managing a mascot agency.
Mhm.
So you got to go around looking for mascots, looking for jobs, places that need mascots, managing your money, managing your amount of fans. Like you can do certain things around the town to get more fans. Um, like, for example, cleaning up shrines, or smashing the signs of the old political regime.
Mhm.
um, and then when you get jobs, you have to pick the right mascot for the right job, send them on the job, and almost inevitably the mascots get into trouble. And to save them from trouble, you have to send a mascot hero to
What
their
is
gig.
this game?
So, for example, like one time the tofu got stuck in a normal-sized door because the mascot's a big crying tofu, and it gets stuck in a normal-sized door. So you have to send a hero to help defeat the door.
What is going? I'm
It's
sorry. I'm
incredible.
looking at screenshots and trailers, and
Yeah.
I got nothing. I got no words for this.
You have to negotiate the mascots' contracts. You have to manage their jobs. You have to go explore the town and find there's a bunch of collectibles in the town. Some upgrades to either your business or your car, or new costumes for the mascots. It's really, really fun.
I like the sad tofu mascot.
Yeah.
He's my favorite.
By the end of it, I didn't have enough mascots that, like, I wanted more mascots, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay.
But it was still very cute, very fun, very silly.
Fun. Yeah.
And yeah, it's Promise Mascot Agency. That actually comes out April 10th, so not that long.
Okay, yeah, just about a month away. Nice. All right.
What else did you play?
So I got a chance today to play the Kathy Rain 2 demo. I just gotta say, what a fucking gorgeous game. I'm blown away, honestly.
Who's that by?
I think it's Clifftop Games.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm blown away. It's so beautiful. So in our last episode, you and Dave talked about Kathy Rain's new voice. I booted it up.
Same voice actor.
Okay.
Just a slightly different
timbre.
Cadence, yeah.
I like it a lot. She sounds, to me, really confident. She doesn't sound softer to me, and I think that was the word that you guys had maybe used to describe it. Just a little softer. Well, yeah. I think she sounds more confident and almost kind of seductive. I really like it. I really like her tone. Wow, it's I mean, the quality is so high. It's so high. I don't know if there's going to be full voice acting, but for the time being, it seems that there is some narration, and then at least in this demo, the speaking boxes are not fully voiced. I'm not sure where it's going. I wouldn't mind if it wasn't fully voiced, like fully voiced, because I actually like reading it. It feels, once again, very Gabriel Knight, but in a more updated way, I suppose. I did the first challenge. Now, it is kind of similar to the last Kathy Rain, is in that you are investigating a murder. And it's very, I can tell it's going to be like one of those research heavy games. So, in like a Jane Jensen game, you have to there's always like a library, and you have to be like, I got to go fucking look up the books. One of the first challenges in this game is to look up something on the computer. And I saw to like the left of the screen, there was like a microfilm viewer. So I can tell that where the inspiration is going to come from. Once again, I think I compared the original Kathy Rain a lot to Gabriel Knight. I really like it. I really, really like it. It's so beautiful. I'm already invested, in the plot, in the murder, and I can't wait. And I think this comes out, actually, no, I don't know when it comes out. I was about to tell a fib.
Yeah, I don't either. I think it'll be a little while if I could glean from what Dave was saying in our in last episode. It sounds like it's still a bit away, but
okay. It's gonna be worth it though. It's called Kathy Rain 2 Soothsayer. It very much reminds me of, a collection of mystery books that's following like a serial killer, and you're finding all these clues. And just go look at the trailer. Yeah. I don't know if I recommend playing the demo. It might leave you feeling like, oh man, I really wanted to play more. It was a very short demo, but yeah, if you get a chance, take a look at the trailer and the artwork. It's really gorgeous. I'm so excited. And did you say you had a chance to play that or no?
I played just like 2 minutes of it.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just wanted to see. I just wanted to get the vibes.
Yeah,
Like I
good
said,
vibes.
with point and click games, I don't really love playing demos unless I'm just like
Yeah.
so damn excited for them that I can't wait.
Yeah.
But I
I'm
this
glad
one
I
I think I
played
can
it.
wait for. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I played it, and
Okay.
I'm so glad there's another one of these
I mean,
games, and
I'm gonna be excited when it comes out. Like I'm gonna play it probably day one, right? But
yeah,
yeah.
I really love the upgrade in the art style. It still looks like Kathy Rain, but it just, looks more modern. Kathy, how old is Kathy Rain now? It's like maybe 7 years. It's been a
I
while.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it really has been a while.
First
So
game uh came out in 2016.
okay.
So,
Oh, that's even
9
long. That's
years.
9 years ago. Yeah, yeah. Wow.
Mm,
So yeah, a long time to wait, but yeah, I got nothing more to say. I'm just the demo was
cool.
short. I want more of it, and I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's Kathy Rain 2.
Kathy Rain
What is it?
2.
Soul something.
Soothsayer.
Soothsayer.
Yeah.
I'm sick.
I'm sick. All right, what is your next? What is your next
Uh
demo?
all right, let me talk about a game called Let's talk about Deliver at All Costs. It's a Konami game, and it is how do I describe this game? It's published by Konami. Its developer Studio Far Out Games. It is also a game where you drive all the time and
Yeah.
you are like a dude in 1959 um named Winston Green. You're kind of like down and out on your luck. You're a down and out on your luck inventor who wants to work in like rocket science in the 50s when rocket science was all the rage.
Yeah.
And in order to raise money, I guess to pay your bills and also to like buy parts to invent shit, you take up a job as a delivery boy, like with a delivery agency. And like, okay, uh your first thing that you deliver is a box of fireworks that later you find out was supposed to be put in like a protective case, but they didn't. So as you drive, the fireworks just shoot off and blow stuff up all around you. Your second thing that you deliver is a guy wants to sell rotten watermelons. So he put 70 some rotten watermelons in the back of your open pickup truck. And as you drive, they're all falling out everywhere. And you have to go get them spray painted green. You have to get them sprayed with perfume so they don't smell bad, and then bring them back. And you have to try and keep the amount of watermelons lose. You have to try and return with at least 20 watermelons.
Yeah. It's got a
It's
little bit of
absolute.
a crazy taxi vibe going on.
It
Even
feels
one of the user defined tags is destruction.
so everything in the game pretty much is destroyable. You can smash your car into everything.
Yeah.
You can uh it- uh it's so it's kind of got you can run around outside of your car and you can climb up buildings, and there's some
Mhm.
like collectibles that you get by um parkouring your way across stuff.
Yeah.
But mostly you're in your car. It's kind of like if Grand Theft Auto happened in like what's what's that movie based in the 1950s where I think Kirsten Dunst was in it, and
Pleasantville?
it
No, that
Pleasantville.
no, no,
Yes.
though. It really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't think she's
Uh
in that. I think Reese Witherspoon is in that.
all right, cut
It's
where I
weird that
said
we
Kirsten.
it's
I'm
weird that we got to
sick.
that. I'm
It's weird that you
sick.
got it even though I said
Yeah.
Kirsten Dunst. Yeah, I'm sick. Um so yeah, it's like if Grand Theft Auto took place there after it was all colored.
Yeah.
Um, it's definitely an interesting game. It seems like it has a really in-depth story that the demo only just brushes up against, and it's stupid and fun. It's called Deliver at All Costs.
I like the premise. I like the premise
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah. No, that's that makes me laugh just
And
thinking about it.
the setting is incredible. Yeah, the setting's incredible. Yeah.
All right, so I would like to talk about a game that you said that I might like, and you were right on the money.
Okay.
Usually you are. I think usually you get me. It's called Wanderstop by
Ooh,
Ivy
yeah.
Road, and I think this is the most disappointing cutoff in a demo.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but I really, really appreciate the tone and meaning of this game. You know, you are
Mhm.
playing as a warrior. It might sound very generic, but when you play the demo, you'll understand. And her goal is to be this number one warrior who wins at fights, but she just can't do it. She's just not winning any. She's losing over and over again. And she is now considering herself to be a failure. But that doesn't stop her necessarily. She decides that she's going to go find this master who's going to make it all better. She's going to train under her. She's going to have a mentor. And then she'll get to her goal, you know, of being this ultimate warrior. And while you're, you know, traveling through the woods to find this warrior, you are just exhausted. And it gets to the point where you can't even carry your sword. And you end up collapsing. And this cute little man named Boro finds you and rescues you, and he brings you to his tea shop in Wanderstop. Or it's called Wanderstop. It's a tea shop called Wanderstop. It's this cute little area. It's very like Zelda villagey. There's these cute little birds called Pluffins. You can't do anything with them yet, but I'm sure you will as the game gets released. And it's a really nice game about changing course. It's pretty heavy-handed, right? It's very much in your face that this is what the theme is. It is okay to not do this path that you thought that you were going to take. It's okay to do something and be good at something else.
You end the demo with the character still not wanting to change course.
Right.
But yeah, I think you're right that it is very... It would take a lot of cognitive dissonance to not believe that that's where this game is going.
It's told very beautifully and very relatably.
It is to me. It was like playing a Pixar game.
Yeah.
It was like it was very. The animation's very Pixar. The character development is very Pixar.
Yeah.
It felt like a playable Pixar movie.
Yeah, and in that way, it was very accessible and kind of meaningful. I think people will really resonate with what this game is about and some of the statements, you know, made. And something that really resonated with me is it's very clear that this is going to be a tea shop management game with some gardening and stuff like that. The demo kind of teaches you how to garden and how to collect tea. It unfortunately does not go into the tea management.
No,
side
it ends
of it. It
right
cuts
there.
Off. Yeah. So you agree to do the, you know, run the tea shop, and that is where it cuts off. And I kind of wanted at least a day of that just to see, but that, you know, that's okay. It got me. You got me, game. I will play it.
Yeah. They unfortunately knew what they were doing here.
Yep. But like one of the statements that Boro said that really resonated with me as a team management game is that there's just take your time. There's no schedule. There's no pressure. We just do stuff. I'm like, really?
I think so. You do get to make one cup of tea, and I have the feeling people at home are imagining this game being like, you're behind a counter and you're making... No, there is a giant, just crazy machine that you have to climb ladders and go up and down and watch and like fill this massive jug with water and watch it like spin through all these curly things.
Yeah, it's cute.
It is a 2-story process.
Yeah. And they kind of give you a little bit of gameplay you're clearly going to be making your own like flavors of tea and like types of tea, maybe colors of tea. So it does show you how to like garden a little bit and make hybrids. Right. So I made like a chip fruit, which obviously these are all going to be made up. And I put that in my tea, and I made green chip tea. And so I think that's going to be part of it, is knowing how to make hybrid fruits and plants. And I can't wait to do more with those pluffins, though, with those birds.
Maybe they'll let you put a pluffin in your tea.
Oh no, Matt!
Yeah, Wanderstop, it looks really good, and
very cozy.
It comes out on March 11th. So yes. It'll be out the day before this episode releases.
Thank God, because again, that is the most disappointing cutoff in a demo I've ever seen. I can't believe, guys, I can't believe you're advertising a tea shop management game and you didn't give me like 20 minutes of tea shop management. I'm feel bamboozled over here.
There's a big game that me and you both played, but before we talk about that, I want to talk about a game called if you're done with Wanderstop, sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm done.
Okay. There's a game called Isles of Reveries.
Okay.
Singular Isle, multiple reveries. It's by I think it seems like it might be by a single developer called Desert Cuckoo.
Yeah.
Cucco. And it's like it's kind of like a Game Boy era Zelda like. Game Boy Color era Zelda like, where you're going around as you're a little owl. You have a bunch of animal friends, and you find some stuff, like you find a sword, you find a lamp, you can cut grass, you can set stuff on fire. It was a fairly short demo, but the first dungeon was really interesting. I felt very confused. It was definitely it was definitely like heavy on the puzzles and light on the combat, which I kind of like in early Zelda kind of games.
Yeah.
The one thing that I found in this, I think, is similar to the most recent top-down Zelda game, which is you can go up to an object and duplicate it. You can keep it in your I think it like assigned to the left trigger button. You go up to an object, you have your little fairy scan it, and then it stays in your left trigger, and then you can create one copy of that object. So there will be puzzles that are solved by like there's this explosive plant, but I can't reach the explosive plant to the thing I need to explode, so I'll copy the plant. Or there'll be things like one torch is blocked by another torch. I can't reach it, so I can't use my lamp to light it. So I'll copy a statue that shoots arrows and put it in line with the torches, so it uses one torch to light the other, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That feels very Zelda to me.
Yes, it is very, again, it's a little Zelda, like, again, top-down Zelda, Game Boy Color era game that is way heavier on the puzzles than on the combat, and I got a little stumped by some of these puzzles. I had a rough time.
That's not like you at all.
That made me like it more. That made me like it a lot more. So that's called Isle of Reveries. Now, by Desert Cuckoo, do you want to now talk about the game that we both played?
Yeah, sure. The game that you're like texting me about? Yeah.
So it's called Blueprints. And this game is going to just confuse the fuck out of you when you start playing it. It doesn't, I promise it makes sense.
Yes, it does.
And now I understand basically the whole thing. But they do not do, it's I don't know if they do a bad job of tutorializing, or I don't know if there's just no way you could tutorialize this that would
Yeah.
make it make sense until you've played a couple in-game days. I honestly don't know.
I don't know, because like it is one of those things where you just kind of have to play it
Yeah.
to get it, you
And
know?
the game only lets you play 4 days. The demo only lets you play 4 days, and it took me till my 4th day to understand what I was
Yeah.
doing. So it's called Blueprints, um, like Prince, like the son of a king, but as Roses pointed out right before we started this recording, blueprints
Blueprints. Yeah, because you
is
are.
relevant.
Yeah, it is very relevant. So
So do you want
I've
to?
never played a game like this
Me neither.
before.
It's like okay. Do you want to describe how you play this game?
I'll try.
Okay, and
I will
I'll fill in the
try.
gaps.
So, you're given kind of very little story, but you are put in this manor. Let's call it a manor. Um, do you think the manor is called Mount Holly, or do you think the town is called, or the estate is called Mount Holly?
I think the estate is Mount Holly.
Okay, so you're at this estate called Mount Holly, and you enter it. It is empty, but you find a letter saying, open this in the case of my death. It's very Knives Out. It's very kind of whodunity.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes on to explain a little bit about the house and some of the rules of exploring the house. And you are to explore this ever-changing house, and that's where the blueprints come up. So this is how I very first played it, right? I get in there, I find these rules. He's like, okay, you only get this many steps, the house changes, and I hope you like it. I'm like, all right, cool. So I go through a door and I find a room. Well, actually, you go through a door and it gives you an option of what room do you want to open right now. And these rooms could be like, oh, you could open the guest bedroom, you could open the closet, the maintenance closet, you could open the conservatory, right? It's very Clue-like in that way. But once you open that is the room you're going to get. And then you can go to another door, and again, which room do you want to open? And it kind of creates this little blueprint for you that you're navigating. However, once you decide to end the day, like if you're done exploring for that day, you can't open any more rooms, you're done. What was I going to say? I had a thought and I lost it. Matt, help me out here.
Oh, it totally resets
yes,
it.
That's what I was going to say. Yes. So it reminded me of a Clue game board a little bit, except you're choosing, or this mechanic they use in Clock Tower where rooms change to scare you. I don't think that's what it's doing here. Yeah. It's more for strategy reasons. Which rooms do you want to explore? Rooms will, they have items in them. They have clues in them. Okay. These are strategy puzzles. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me try that. Let me try now. I'm going to start from the beginning because
I have no idea what I just said, but it was something.
No. I think that was pretty good, and I think if both of us try, they can put it together and understand it. Okay, so you start out. You're told that you have to find the missing, mysterious room 46. There's 45 rooms in this house, and then a room 46 no one's ever been to. So you start in this lobby where there's 3 doors. A door to your left, right, and center. And when you go through a door, there's not a room there. You pick the room out of 3 different rooms. And you sort of have to, and there's like a grid. The house is made out of a grid. So you have to try and pick the rooms that will keep the grid open enough that you can get to the end of the grid, which I never did.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Probably going to take you 100 in-game days or something. It seems hard, really hard. Yeah. And so some of these rooms contain gems, and some of these rooms contain keys, and some of these rooms contain items, and some of these rooms contain puzzles. And it'll tell you, and some of them have bonuses, and it'll tell you which thing is in which room before you even build it.
Yeah.
And some of them are bad. Red rooms are bad. They do bad things to you,
or green rooms have more chances of items being in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you create a room, you go into it, say it's the bedroom. Oh, there's no way out. I made a dead end. Or, oh, it's a hallway. And now you go, a lot of rooms, some rooms cost gems, so that's why you got to collect gems. Some rooms are locked, that's why you got to collect keys. And some, and oh yeah, and if you build a doorway to a place where there already is a room, like on the grid, then that doorway is just blocked.
Right.
So that's why you kind of want to like keep it open. And some puzzles, so like this isn't just the strategy game, right? There are puzzles in rooms, and there are inventory items that you use to solve puzzles in other rooms. Like there's this one thing where I got to a security room.
Okay.
And there's a puzzle in that room, but in order to activate the puzzle, you have to also have built a garage and turned on something in the garage.
Right. So did you find the breaker room?
Yes.
Okay.
I never got the two on the same playthrough, though.
Oh, okay.
Because the rooms that appear, it's always 3 random rooms.
Yep.
And yeah, and there's a lot of puzzles, and some of the puzzles are inter-room, some of the puzzles are, only in the one room that like take place entirely in the room. All right, between the two of those things, do you think we've described this game?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's really hard. It's like I said, I've never played a game like this before. It is strategy. It is kind of like a do-over type of game. Let's see if I can get something on this day, It's
like a strategy board game.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of like a roguelike.
And there's logic puzzles onto like
and then like escape room style logic puzzles. It's all first person, and there's a story. So I think this probably qualifies as an adventure game. This game is so fucking weird, y'all. Like this is such a weird game. You gotta try it.
You just gotta try it. Yeah, you gotta try it. Yeah, I got a text from you one night that's just like, I'm playing this game and it doesn't make any sense.
I don't get it. Yeah,
I don't get it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna boot it up. And yeah, it's super unique. It's unique in the way that it has all of these elements that it's like that they've taken from other games. Yeah. I don't know how to describe this game. Just go look at the trailer or play the demo.
Yeah. It hopefully we've explained enough that you'll be able to at least get started, because it is really rough to start, but
it is. It's intriguing though. It has the same amount of intrigue that it made me feel as when I first booted up Myst. When I booted up Myst for the first time and I saw this world that I was in and there was like no clues really. And you can go out. I want to say you can go outside the manor. You can go outside on the estate. And I was like getting that same like feeling of like, ooh, this is very appealing. Where am I? Where's everyone else?
We forgot one thing, which is that you have 50 steps a day.
I still don't get that.
It took me a long time to figure out what a step is. A step is entering a room.
Is that it?
It is. If you enter a room, even a room you've already been in, you use a step.
Okay.
And there are some like rooms will subtract multiple steps.
Or add,
It'll tell you that on the map. And some rooms will add steps.
Yeah.
Some rooms will add steps every time you walk into them, while other rooms will add just to your overall steps for the day. And again, it completely resets. So at the beginning of the next day, all the items that you had found are gone. All the puzzles you solved are unsolved. All the rooms that you opened are missing. But you have information now. And you can use that to help you. So that's Blueprints by Dog U Bomb Games.
It's interesting, man. Like I will probably play a little bit more. I know you are going to play it, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts. I'm going to play the
living shit out of this game.
I know you are. No, I know you are.
Yeah, I mean, of the games that we played, like Alpinist is definitely going to be my I'm doing other stuff game. Like I'm doing something else. My attention is focused elsewhere, but I'm just like playing it in the background. I'm probably going to play the shit out of Do No Harm. I'll probably play the shit out of Deck of Haunts, Blueprints. Wander Stop, I'm not sure. It seems like it's going to
Yeah.
take a lot of time.
Yeah.
I really liked it, but I don't know how much. We'll see.
But remember what Boro said. There's no pressure. You do things
You're
at your own pace.
right. Yeah, maybe it'll just be like my. Oh, it'll take the place of what I used to when I used to play. What do you call it? Disney Dreamlight Valley. It was
Uh-huh.
just to kind of like chill my brain out.
Yeah, it does a
And I'd
good
play
job
it
of
like an
that.
hour at a time or something. I'd like play it for a half hour even some days, and then just move on to whatever was on my to-do list. Maybe Wander Stop will be like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any other games that you played that you want to talk about?
Just one more that I want to
Okay.
briefly mention. I think that you've already talked about it, but it's Elroy and the Aliens. I booted
Okay.
that up earlier by Motiviti.
I don't
I'm
think I
not.
have talked about it.
Oh, you haven't? Okay, I
Mm-mm.
swear I thought you did. Elroy and the Aliens. It gave me a very specific vibe, a very specific point in time type of vibe of your kind of early to mid 90s adventure games. This is a very lighthearted game. It reminds me of Broken Sword or maybe Orion Burger. I didn't get very far in it because I think this kind of proves one of my other statements from a previous episode where I said what I'm looking for in an adventure game these days has changed
Yeah.
severely. I When I was growing up, I would want to play Elroy and the Aliens. I would see this on Home of the Underdogs. It would remind me of, like, again, Orion Burger, Broken Sword, maybe a LucasArts game,
We
and
just
I'd
want to
be
play the same
very
thing over and over, right? Yeah, we wanted to play the same
yeah, we
mechanics,
did.
just in different settings with different
Different
writing and
stories, different
voices and
settings.
characters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it does give me that vibe. Like it says, I think it even says somewhere in on the page that it's going to remind you of these other games, and it does. I'm not far along into it to really determine whether this is going to be my jam story wise, right? Because everything is super lighthearted. It almost has a vibe of like for kids a little bit, almost. But again, that might not be being fair to it because it really is only a demo. According to the screenshots, you are going to go. It is a grand adventure type of game. There's going to be travel outside of your close circle. But yeah, it definitely. I can see people really enjoying it. It's hand drawn, so it looks really neat. It is fully voiced, and
Is
it does remind me. In fact, the game it takes place in 1993, so it's kind of like feeding you a little bit of nostalgia in multiple ways. Not just the style of art and the point and clickiness of it, um, but also the setting. The time that it's set in. So I do recommend the demo. I do think you should get, and I'm actually really interested in your thoughts on it too, Matt. I do think you should play the demo and see if you feel the same
okay.
way.
Now, here's my question, and this is how I feel when I see any of these sort of cartoony, uh, retro style point and click games.
Hmm.
Is it fucking annoying? Like
I know
some of
exactly
these,
what you're
like
asking.
there's
Yeah.
so many of these that are just fucking annoying.
It's veering there. Yeah, it's
Okay,
veering there because it has a certain energy to it. Will it
right.
be annoying to other people? Maybe not. But considering the type of games that I have been playing, which are very like a little more serious.
Hmm.
Oh, hi, Basket. I don't know if the if my mic picked that up, but she's like, I agree. Um, I understand what you're asking. I think it could be annoying to certain people like us.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't mind lighthearted or silly games,
Oh
and
yeah,
and I still play a point and click for like here and there. But
yeah,
what I have grown to love about the genre is just how diverse it is and how much experimentation goes
yeah,
into adventure games that doesn't seem to go as much into other genres.
yeah,
And so it takes me a bit to just say, okay, I'm going to sit down and do some point and click puzzles in a point and click game with point and click ass shit in it.
yeah.
Um, And like obviously I'm gonna play Old Skies, I'm gonna play
Of course.
Rosewater, I'm gonna play Perfect Tides. These all have like when things are done expertly, like top of their craft, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to feel that like, oh, it's just a point and click game. But
Right.
there's unfortunately so many of these middling point and click games that are released every single year, and I don't I wish I still had the patience for them that I used to. Well, or do I? There's so many good games that come out every year. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's good that I've gotten past that inclination so that I can play
I
more
also
interesting
think
and artistic stuff.
it's hard when we see things that harken back to these games that we've already played, because it's like you said earlier, we wanted to play the same things over and over again, but that's
Yeah.
because there was not many. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
I
right.
was really back in the day, I was really searching for new adventure games to play that would fit my my style and my tastes. Now we have so many. We don't need to do this, guys. We don't need to play
And
the same adventure games over and over again.
and I also want to say there was a feeling that there was an itch that those scratched, right? Like there was a
Yeah.
feeling that those gave us that um we didn't get from other video games.
Yeah.
Um there like we didn't have all these other options for games that gave us really deep we didn't have all these story first games, for
Yeah.
example, right?
Yeah.
That weren't point and click adventure games. And we didn't have games that really tested your brain
Mhm.
besides puzzle games and point and click games. So there wasn't so there wasn't the sort of options that there are now where there's just so many of that now. Like I can get those itches scratched,
Yeah.
story and thinking.
Yeah.
Um, I can
But
get both of
like
those itches scratched by playing a game that is not point and click.
but I also I feel bad at the same time because I also don't want to shove out these lighthearted, good quality
No.
games
And
because
again,
there's room for it. There's room for every type of game. We
I
want,
like a
you know
lighthearted game.
yeah, yeah. It does look like, to this game's credit, it does look like there is gonna be kind of a touching story that unfolds, so I'm curious to see where it goes.
I mean, Wander Stop is a lighthearted game.
It
Do you know
is,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, it is. It's
So,
interesting, though, because Elroy and the Aliens starts out really, really lighthearted in gameplay,
mm,
but Wanderstop doesn't. Wanderstop starts with
really intense.
some intense moments. I think that's an interesting choice, right?
I think that might be why I get some of those Pixar vibes. Is
Yeah.
because like so many
Like
Pixar
Up.
movies are silly. Yeah, it's Up. I mean, Wally, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many of these Pixar movies that are like, oh, it's just a silly movie about and I guess Disney did this before them. Like, oh, it's just a silly movie about a fish or a silly movie about a
Yeah.
deer. Um, everybody dies first though.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's dead. Everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, look at all these cute characters. They're all dead. Anyway, now we're doing a silly movie about a, a, a robot.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um. So okay, that was Elroy and the Aliens. There's some that I'm gonna. I have a few. Um. How many more? How many? What else do you have left? Because I have a few. Also, like.
That's really it. I did open up a game called Brass Heart, but it
Mhm.
was giving me, and again, this is not me demeaning these games. It's just my
Uh-huh.
tastes have changed. Brass Heart was giving me Elroy and the Aliens vibes. Again, it's very
Okay.
cartoony, very hand drawn, and very like traditional point and click. You
Yeah.
click on the
Yeah.
thing and you use the thing and you talk to the characters. But it does look nice. So
Um. I I have a couple like what do you call them, rapid fire ones
yeah, go
here
for it.
that I played and I don't have that much to say about.
Sure, go
So
for it.
Dr. Priori's Time Escape was in escape, like kind of a normal escape room game. It says there's going to have co-op, but the one thing that changes it from being just an escape room game is like you open these time bubbles, and certain aspects of the room are different, right? So like if this button is broken, oh, I can't activate this thing because the button is broken. Oh, I found this time bubble that takes me back to a moment when this button was not broken, or things like that. So that's Dr. Priori's Time Escape. It looks like it's just going to be a really well made escape room, like first person logic puzzle kind of game. I played this is the worst title for a video game a person could possibly imagine. It is called Inaya Life After. I can't even read my fucking handwriting here.
Oh no, he's sick, guys.
I'm sick. Inaya Life After Gods.
Okay.
And it's just a Metroidvania where it seems like it's going to be a really well made Metroidvania.
Okay.
Where you play some lady, go around, do some stuff. You
man.
go unlock your powers, that sort of thing. The one, I guess, hook is that you have 3 different kind of like elements of power that you switch between, which a lot of Metroidvanias are doing these days, to be honest. But yeah, you have 3 different elements of power, and each have their own sets of abilities. So I don't know. That looks like it's going to be kind of good and kind of cute. And then Little Problems,
right,
which is a Golden Idol like that is not based around murders.
No, it's more lighthearted than that.
Yeah, it's not based around anything heavy. It is basically like, what happened to my homework?
Yeah, these are little problems, not astronomically terrible problems.
Right, like who spilled the milk? Who
Yeah.
knocked the milk over? And then you're looking around your house to see what clues there are as to who knocked the milk over. Very, very cute. I think I don't know. This will be interesting because Duck Detective was a lighthearted version of this kind of game, and we really loved it.
Yeah.
And so how are we going to feel as this genre expands, and then there becomes these subgenres of it, this cozy deduction kind of detective game. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. I'm definitely going to play it because I like this style of game so much.
Yeah.
But I could see myself going either way. I could see myself going, yeah, this ruled. Or I could see myself going, okay, I don't need to play every deduction game that comes out.
Sure, yeah. It might explode in popularity.
Right. So I guess we'll see. And I think those are all my rapid fires.
Nice. Yeah, we did it. We talked about demos.
We did it, and I am still alive.
I thought you were going to be dead by the end, so I
know.
Shocked right now.
Me too. I hope people are celebrating. I hope nobody's... I mean, it would have been... Okay, if they're not celebrating, I get that it would have been a really interesting podcast if one of those died mid-podcast, which it would have been really interesting. And we would have made all
luck.
We would have made all the charts. It would have been like, oh, did you hear that podcast? And they still released it. The guy died on it, and they still released it. Like a normal episode. It's not even like the death episode. It's just like...
And Roses acted like the next episode was coming up. It was really weird. It'd be great.
So, yeah, I think I think that does it for our episode, right?
Yeah. I would love to hear from you guys on what demos that you're looking forward to. If you want to leave us a comment on our Instagram page, which is Save Your Game Podcast, you can. We love our Instagram. Matt goes a little crazy with the art on the Instagram. I love it. I think it's hilarious.
I try to make them all themed, and sometimes that's like so weird and impossible.
It gets away from him.
Yeah, it gets like I'm not a graphic designer at all, and you can really tell that in our episode artwork. But
and I am an artist, and yet I'm not the one doing them. It makes no sense.
It's still kind of fun. Some of them are really fucking good. Some of them you're
great.
like, damn, this guy's got some chops, and other ones you're like, what the fuck is Matt doing?
No, I love it. Please go visit our Instagram page. We do post episode updates there, and you can leave us a comment, or you can send us an email at mattandroses@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Questions, pet peeves, raves, tips, money tips.
I think we haven't done a question and answer episode in a while. We probably will do one soon.
Yeah.
But the thing that we really love from question and answer type games, like we like questions that you kind of wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
So, I as much as it's fun to be like, oh, which character would you want to be from Sam and Max? Sam or Max? Like, as much as that stuff is kind of cute sometimes, I think it's always more interesting when it's like a question that nobody's heard before, and that is that you've put some thought into, and
anyway. we're very deep people. We're very deep feeling people, and we want to get deep with your questions.
We're deep as hell, actually.
We're deep as fuck over here.
Not, they can go get. You can report them to RFK.
Robert Floppy Kennedy.
Robert Floppy Kennedy.
I can't with that.
We are an independent podcast brought to you by ourselves and only ourselves. We also want to quick highlight the political actions going on. We're still in the middle of this economic blackout tour, as they call it. So let me just quick call out some dates, if that's cool.
Yeah, go for it. I like how you were like sniffling and like clearly dying of a cold. I know, but that does not stop Matt from being an activist, ladies and gentlemen.
I've gotten worse throughout. There's supposed to be a big pro-science protest action on Friday, and I don't think I could go because I'm sick. But man, I just have them like wheel me out and cover my face. Okay. Right now, as this episode is released, we are in the middle of the Amazon boycott, the 7th through the 14th. You can do it. I know some of us have gotten really reliant on our Amazon, but you can turn off your Echoes. You can turn off your Dots, right? You can turn off your Alexas. You can cancel your Amazon subscription if you really cannot live without it, which some people I know say that they can't for various reasons. Maybe you live in the middle of nowhere and it's your only option to get certain goods. Turn it off for a month, right? Turn it off for 2 weeks. Turn it off for an amount of time that Amazon knows you're paying attention and that they feel it. Mm-hmm. You can cancel your subscription and buy it again in a couple weeks if you really need to. But I think a lot of us are going to find out that when we start boycotting these things, we didn't really need them as bad as we thought we did to begin with. Mm-hmm. So your Amazon apps, Goodreads, this hurts me. Abe Books, which is kind of like the best place to get rare and like older used volumes of books. Like Abe Books is Amazon, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Me neither until very recently. Bummed me out. Anyway, so that's Amazon, 7th to the 14th. Then Nestle. I keep telling you guys I'm going to have a list of Nestle products that I keep not having it. I'm sorry, I'm sick!
He's sick, you guys.
March the 21st to the 28th is the Nestle boycott. And then, again, the easy one, Walmart. Don't go to Walmart from April 7th to 14th. Super easy. And then there's another economic blackout, April 18th, but we'll talk about that more when we get to it.
That's after my birthday. My birthday's next month.
I'm not going to say happy birthday until it's the month.
Okay, I thought you were going to say until it's the day, but I'm like, no, you're not. Because I know that you're coming to my birthday party before my birthday.
Maybe I'll refuse to say happy birthday that whole time. Everybody was
mad.
singing it, and I'll be in the corner just with my arms folded.
Just doing
it's not her birthday yet!
Matt, I'm getting complaints from my friends that you're scaring them.
Matt, we know this happens with this is everybody's birthdays. This isn't unique. It's not our birthday.
It's not our birthday yet. Why do we even have cake here?
Knock the cake over.
Happy birthday to the ground.
All right. I think that's everything. I know we haven't done a fucking, what do you call it?
Ranking
in a while. That maybe we'll knock both out same episode. We'll do some ranking. We'll answer some questions.
He's sick, but he's smart.
And I don't know what else. Do you have anything else to say?
I have one thing to say, and that
fuck RFK.
God damn it! Stop ruining my lines. No, of course not. Of course, it is podcast is art.
And art, much like the Department of Health and Human Services under RFK, is suffer.
Floppy.